Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? How are you, Miles? Hopefully, you guys can hear me. All right, John. Nice to see you. All right, just a quick recap here. The crude oil 9 a.m. session's already hit its first target objective. Getting short right around 9:11. 14 tick target, maybe adjusted a little bit. Hitting that target right on the head there, and then moving your stop to break even. So let's see if it can get lower. Minimal target objective reached. Markets are about to open any moment. Yeah, on TradeStation, Dawn hasn't quite hit that stop yet. All we can do is follow our own charts. It may hit it. So far, it missed by a tiny bit. I'll cover that in a second. So unleaded gas also hitting its goals with the short trade here. You could see it's still going, but it just hit all its targets. And now the markets are open. We'll review the pound Aussie in a moment. Short on the YM, heads up everybody, 279. That's targeting 254 and 240. The stop at 316. And you have a high up there at 316, so I'd probably adjust that stop one tick higher, 317. Whoops. And it's going to stop out, which it did. Too bad. All right, so the YM stopping out of its first trade. And it doesn't look like... No, we won't get a long setup there. So a quick look at the pound Aussie. The get in sync. Okay, so you had the setup early on. Trade got long right in here at around 830, 840. Hitting some resistance. You got some support down below too, right at that 75 level. And a stop at 73. It almost got to 73. Missed by 8/10. So that fifth digit certainly is kind of pesky. We round things to the nearest. Not always the nearest, but we round it with a smart rounding strategy that pushes the stop a little further down. But regardless, 73 got to 738. Of course, other brokers, maybe it went below 7.3. There's just no accounting for Forex. Every broker makes their own market. It's one of the things that makes Forex a challenge. Where is the signal, Ari? It was the blue trade that occurred back at 6:59 this morning. Right here. And then once our start time, we get in sync. You can get in sync with the trade if it hasn't hit a point where the stop moves, the money management level, or the stop out. So definitely within the rules. So long on soybeans. So soybeans getting into a long trade, first trade of the morning for that one. Moving quickly, very quickly. No room to pause and think. Now there's another short on the YM at 04. Let's see if the second time there's a charm. That stop is at 41. Right above the high of the day. And that one's targeting 75 and 60. Failing to follow through on that push higher. Let's see if we can try to test these swing lows. So far, it's making higher highs and higher lows and seems to be trending up. Yeah, seems to want to go higher here. Let's see if we could find resistance and move lower. You can see soybeans has already hit its target objective. That was a rather quick trade. It's still going. Getting long at 15.17 and a half. And hitting that first target for 9 ticks. That's 3. That 0.75, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 2.25 points. $100, $112.50 a contract, and now getting up to, well, target 2 is the next objective, 15.21.25. That one good for 3.75 points. Well, I don't know. First of all, when you say you don't have the entry on a Wanda, are you referring to an MT4 chart? Because we're using an 8 pip momentum bar. You're not going to be able to have a bar like that on MT4. So it's not only the broker difference, it's a completely different bar. I mean, maybe you're looking at a 5-minute bar. I don't know. Are you looking at a MT4 chart or an Owanda chart of some sort? Okay, so I see you have NinjaTrader feeding through to Owanda. That's still a different broker and different bar for sure. I mean, it's a different set of data, so that would make a difference. Definitely. Money management on the YM is at 278. So we got to get through this 50 moving average. And if we can get to 278, stops will move to break even. So after that initial push higher, the failure to get higher and then making a lower high and a lower low, this is a pretty good test here as it tries to test these highs again against this new descending trend line. Let's see if it can hold and push lower. You can see the 50 moving average putting up a fight here, showing you where the support is. So this could be a bullish type of consolidation, or the beginning of a push lower. So that was a good sign. That's a pretty bearish bar right there. Let's see if we can make a new swing low and get through that 50 moving average once and for all, and hopefully get down to at least a break-even level here. Of course, soybeans finished very quick. Anyone looking for an additional trade plan that you can just do fast and finish very quickly most of the time, this is a long-running trade plan that's been working for years. The soybeans trade plan with counterpunch. Soybeans trades like the ES, $50 a point, $12.50 a tick. Probably quite a bit easier to trade than the ES is my initial feeling on it. So this 34,290 level, let's see the price break through below that, hopefully. Still trying to get through that 50 moving average on the YM. And that 75 level on the pound Aussie holding pretty strong also. You can see the price having a hard time getting through it. Looking like the YM has a good chance of capitulating lower here. Let's see if it can. Mark the money management level. There it goes. And there it is. So move your stop to break even. Let's see if we can get to lower targets. Stop should go to 03. Now if we can push on that 200 moving average, we have a chance of hitting target 2. And unleaded gas just stopped out. Nice one and done on that. Yeah, I mean, you have to make a decision. You either trade your charts or trade the signals that come out if you're in the trade a day alert service. You can't do both. I would probably always encourage someone to trade their own charts versus follow an alert service. Just as a general statement, those are the charts you get to work on and believe in and utilize. So the failure to get higher, maybe setting up a strong move lower, maybe not. Stop's now moving to 97. Maybe you can keep it above at 301 just to, well, too late if you got hit. Yeah, it's too bad. I was hoping to get to target 2, but the YM stopping out, so probably needing another trade for power of quitting. Just not enough to get lower. So now we have a long at 311. Going to be testing the highs of the day there. That one targeting 348 and the stops at 264. And money management on the YM now at 344, above the highs of the day. So let's see if it can do it. And it looks like now, I mean, missing by 1/10 of a pip, that short trade was adjusted down to 72, but missing that stop by 1/10 of a pip. So in all practical purposes, I'm sure there's no one left standing on that long trade there. Jim, I've never really tried soybeans with Spotlight. It's a good question. I just don't have an answer. And while it's on my mind, if you guys wouldn't mind, please hitting the like button. Definitely helpful. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm going to be announcing another Trade Hacking Club session fairly soon here, and then you're going to want to get notified when I do in case you miss it, so you can join us. And if you're new to the room, please say hello. If you're new to any of these strategies, Spotlight, Counterpunch, feel free to ask questions. This is your chance to get things cleared up if you have any questions. One of the main reasons why I do these sessions, to help you learn the strategies better. Yeah, you can see up on the data window here how it has not yet hit 8273, the pound Aussie. It's missed by 1/10 of one pip. Fortunately, with Forex, you got spread and different brokers just manipulating the price and doing whatever they want to do. So you get that close, odds are you're taken out of the trade. Missing an entry or a target by one tick with futures, you know you're not going to get filled. Well, unless it's a thin market, there could be a spread. Some markets, heating oil, unleaded gas, you might have a few ticks of spread in there. Also known as slippage. All right, the YM under pressure. Dawn, you got in at 72 on that short? Yeah, that's quite a difference. That's over a pip difference. Yeah, that would do it. Very little price action in the pound Aussie at this point. It's low range, not really doing much of anything. Crude oil continues to do great. That first trade winning, anyone not getting that, needing a second trade, certainly would be happy with this. Of course, the mini session finishing with that first trade. Hoping the YM can pull it together. Would have been nice to hit that target too on that second trade there. Wasn't able to do it. Picking up 29 points. Unfortunately, the first trade lost 37 points. So if you're only trading to one target, still needing another winner, doesn't look like it's going to be on this trade. It might, but this trade price seems destined to move lower here unless that 200 moving average throws up some support. But it looks like it's, well, that just stopped out, unfortunately. So the YM struggling a bit this morning. The energies continue to kick butt. Unleaded gas, crude oil. Crude oil trading in that price area here up in the 60s where the swings are just really nice. Not so nice on your wallet when you're filling up your car, but for traders, this is a great price zone for really good trading. We've noticed that ever since it's gotten up to this price level, the trades have just been, well, what we've been used to in the past. Definitely a nice market. Seeing trades of better size compared to what we've seen at the lower prices. This last long trade, 23 cents. That's $230 of risk per position from entry to stop. That's a pretty good size for a trade in crude oil. The one prior was even smaller, was 200. So this blue one's a little bigger. Just hit target 3. But that's better than the 12 and 14 cent where you can't get good risk-reward ratios. At least with these trades, you get pretty decent ratios. Target 2, a little bit better than 1-to-1. That's always nice to see. The Russell really moving well too. The Russell gives you some great swings. It also gives you some noise and some real fast, choppy price action in between quite often. Ever since it went to $50 a point, when it used to be $100 a point, I just haven't really figured it out. I haven't tried either. You can see there's good trades in the Russell. Just haven't worked on the right plan for that yet. There's another long now on the YM. The YM has been pretty choppy this morning. Opening up right around here, and the price is kind of right back where the open was. Just a lot of choppy up and down and right back to where it opened. So now maybe the failure to get lower could set up a move higher. And you can see that 200 did provide support so far, but we stabbed down and hit the stop, unfortunately. So one more try. 34,302, targeting 337 and 356. The stop is at 259. All right, a lot of people just joining in, so good morning, everybody. If you're just joining, had quite a bit of success so far this morning. Got a couple stinkers also. The YM, for one, still struggling. The loser, a winner, a loser, and now in its fourth trade, long at 34,302. Targeting 337, 356 and above, and the stop is at 259. Crude oil finished quickly and efficiently. Unleaded gas, soybean futures, all one and done. Pound Aussie stopped out of its long trade, has a short trade, adjusted down to 8272. Hasn't triggered in, not on my chart anyway. Some of you have triggered in. Kind of a slow and boring market, but if this heads lower, it could still turn out okay. And I just want to encourage you all to please ask questions if you have any. I know I've been talking to some people over the weekend who have questions about calculator inputs and different setups. So if you do, feel welcome to ask questions. I could open up charts, show you what you need to know, certainly help you shorten your learning curve. 82714. Yeah, the lowest I see is 82731. This bar here, 82731. Just by the looks of things, breaking support down below. I mean, we need to see some follow through. It kind of looks like it wants to follow through lower. You can see where the support is. I mean, the buyers are coming in right in here. I mean, the failure to get lower could lead to a move higher, but it's still not finished trying to get lower. So let's see if it can. I'll mark the 7.2 is right there. Whoops. Well, close enough. Again, what your other broker is offering, quoting, it is what it is. There's nothing I could do about that. We follow our charts. It's all we can do. I'm not going to try to control something I have no control over. The YM is pushing higher. Testing these highs of the day. This looks like just one big, long, bullish consolidation, pennant flag type of formation here. If it rallies, the 200 moving average stopping it in its tracks on this 14-point momentum bar. So money management is at 333. If it can get there, stop should move to break even on this trade. That's just below the highs of the day. You see the little double top here, 339. Well, that's actually 337, so it must have tried to get high. Must have made a high earlier. Yeah, right here is the high of the day at 2:35 a.m. this morning. And then it failed to make a new high on 2 attempts here. So coming up to test those highs again. And it's going to at least have to get to 333, 6 points below the high of the day to at least be able to move your stops to break even. And you can see it's struggling with resistance right now. You can see that you're going to need some energy to push it higher here on the buyer side. So kind of a low range session so far this morning. Some indecisiveness on the YM. Yeah, I don't know, John. Maybe just because then it's extra price action confirmation, easier to manage. You don't have a stop and reverse at the same price point. I mean, I'm sure Kevin had his reasons, but there's a lot of support down in there too. You can see the support, so just extra price action confirmation to prove it wants to go lower, that extra pip. I can see the sense in that, but it did just hit 72. So now on our end, we're short on this bar. So it did stab down, but there's no follow through, and this is a little problematic so far, but who knows, anything could happen at this point. But you can see the support in this zone. So that also means that there could be capitulation. I mean, if it could break through all the support, buyers could end up jumping ship and becoming sellers and push this lower. Let's just see if that's indeed what will happen here. And a new high is made on the YM. Target 1 reached. Move your stop up. 34,303. So that helps. That's a 35-point target 1. Target 2 at 54 points. If we can get there. 356. Next stop, 356. Next stop is in next bus stop, not stop like stop loss stop. So making new highs here and now pushing up against a 34,350 level, which we're going to have to get through. 350 could push some resistance in the way here. Well, there it is, 350. And look at that. You see what I said? Look how it bounced off of 350. Stop should move up now to, 317. 317. Barely stabbing up to 351 and getting rejected handily, but let's see if it can make another run at it. All right, again, if you're just joining us, good morning. Currently in this YM trade, trying to see if it could hold, and it didn't. It just stopped out at 17. So that 350 zone, that was pretty predictable. Putting up a roadblock. It may make another attempt at it, but this trade is essentially flat now. If you have not yet joined our Trade Hacking Club on Discord, you are certainly welcome to do so. There, I will be putting some trade examples shortly. I'm working on a new strategy, and I will be announcing the next Trade Hacking Club session where we're going to go over some trade hacking stuff. Carl, this is the trade room. Unfortunately, there's only so much one can do on a given session. I do have a counterpunch trade there at soybeans. It's already finished, and we do crude oil on the crude oil report, but I'm certainly willing to open up any counterpunch chart, talk through any questions you might have. But, there's a limit to what I can do on any given session. Yeah, thank you, John. Certainly willing to look at anything that you have questions about, including Catapult, which I was about to leak out some information if you haven't heard, but I've been working on a Catapult Energy Futures module in boot camp, which I'll be announcing shortly. I'm really excited about it. And perhaps I'll work in some Catapult into the trade room at some point, especially with the new Energies module, because I'm using charts that are more conducive to a trade room environment. 5-minute chart, not really what I want to do in here because it just doesn't fit with the timing of the trade room. But the new energy modules, while you could use a time-based chart, it's working really well on our favorite momentum bars, range bars, and even tick charts. So another short on the YM, if anyone's still trying to get the YM to go green, 34,319 is a short, maybe getting to the point where there's been enough trades and you just kind of, learn to walk away so you can live to fight another day type of thing. I would probably adjust that actually below that swing low at maybe 315. I don't like to get in at 15, but 319 down to 315, that's a 4-tick adjustment, 4-point adjustment. I would say you should do that on this if you didn't already get short. You can push through that support that little bar is showing you there on the left of the entry. I'll be right back, you guys. Alrighty, I'm back. Hey Ari, with Forex and CPX2, are you referring to day trading or swing trading? Because there's a lot you can do, obviously. Forex, there's always a learning curve. Just dealing with Forex in general. Counterpunch put some nice trades out there, but you got to work it into a trade plan. Yeah, so with the swing trading, we're certainly using Counterpunch with our Spotlight Swing Trade Alert service. Even though it says Spotlight, it is Counterpunch mostly, all actually entirely. So I could point you in the direction of what I see working on our end, if you're interested. And one in particular that I would recommend is the pound yen 240-minute chart. There's a trade plan on that. Actually, it was designed for the full Counterpunch Trader, but there's a modified version for the Counterpunch Express 2, which works. I mean, so far, it's been winning in the 80+% range for like 10 straight years. You got to know some of the more advanced concepts like trend mode and how to avoid trades that go against the color of the trend mode indicator. But that one is a good one. It only uses the 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. bar. So it makes it a little easier to manage. And the way I would do it, because a 4-hour bar is tricky, definitely could impose, it could impose on one's lifestyle. But if you use the idea of snapshot trading, where you look at your charts the same time every day, and if there's a trade, you get in sync with it. If you missed it earlier, as long as it hasn't hit a profit area, a money management area, or stopped out, you could get in sync if it comes back to its entry. And that's the best way to trade that type of chart. Otherwise, use daily charts. And again, you just the same time every day, you spend a few minutes with your charts. And what I would do with a daily chart, you have to increase your stops. Your entries and your stops. 2 pips is not going to cut it on a daily chart. You need something that I think is bigger because of the scaling of a daily chart, right? So I think a 20 pip entry and a 10 pip stop is a good starting point. So then a lot depends on if you're just going to focus on green trades, if you're going to focus on all 3 colors. I mean, there's a lot you can do at that point. But if you go with a 20 pip entry and a 10 pip stop, it's pretty easy to fast test a pair over the last several years and keep track of wins and losses on a fast test. And the best trading pairs are going to emerge and present themselves to you over time. And then once you've done that, then you should dedicate yourself to a UTA spreadsheet for each pair that gave you the good fast test result. And like this, you build a good roster of charts that you could trade. That's the way to do it. If you don't see it for yourself, you're never going to believe in it. You're just going to quit, especially with swing trading Forex. When the trades take so long, you get confused at 3 or 4 months where you don't feel like you're making any traction. You end up bailing out and missing the big moves. And that's because 3 or 4 months of trading on a daily chart, I mean, that's like 2 or 3 days on a day trade. It's nothing. So you have to have a real slow mindset and a real patient outlook and realize that it's the big moves and then learning how to scale in if you can. I mean, it's always hard with the first in, first out rules, but that's where you can really take advantage of big moves with the green setups. So, there's a little bit of work behind figuring it out. You could do the pairs we're doing in the swing trade alert service. Those have been working really well for quite some time. Different cadences, different rhythms. But if you don't do the work yourself, you'll quit anyway. So I always encourage you to do your own work, because otherwise you're never going to believe in it. If you don't know the strategy that well, you're not going to understand the big picture and the forest from the trees. So trading, usually you make 20% of your profit from 80% of your effort. You make 80% of your profit from 20%. And you don't want to miss that 20%. Most people quit before that 20% delivers the 80% profit, that 20-80 rule, 80-20 rule. Most traders seem to have a hard time with that. By the way, the YM did get short. It got short, the stop held, still going, testing those highs. Again, kind of a flaky market this morning, not a lot of follow through. The pound Aussie starting to move lower. Jim, you mentioned on Discord that you would show your settings for trading heating oil. And yeah, sure thing, Jim. So here's unleaded right now. We can take a look. Just watching this YM and pound Aussie, but I'll go ahead and open it up. So don't really have any changes. Minimum ticks for money management. I don't know why it's set to 8. It really should be 10. I don't know how that happened. And the stop and reverse adjustment, I guess I have it on. I usually turn it off, but I'll leave it on now. But I do a 4-tick stop and reverse adjustment because the ticks are so small. You have a little spread in there too sometimes. But I typically would set that to false and do those stop and reverse adjustments in your head, and up to 10 ticks even on larger trades, because you want to give the original trade you're in room to breathe. And this is where you have to do your own testing to really figure it out. But if you've got a support or resistance level clearly marked by a wick on a bar to your left, and you're stopping and reversing, asking it to push through that support or resistance level before flipping over to the other side, I've found will often save you, and the original trade ends up winning. I don't know, John, if you want to chime in, because I know John trades RB a lot and he has his own take on it. So feel free, John, if you have anything to add to what I'm saying. But in my own testing, I've been a little broader and more lenient with the protecting of the original trade before flipping over to a stop and reverse if I see a clear bar marking support and resistance. So if you don't know what I mean by that, I could try to find an example. Also, using one of these diamond level setups, which is basically the yellow trade, but off of the blue 20 simple moving average, not an EMA, but an SMA. I use those setups too. And if you don't have diamond level, you can trade it with the manual calculating. If you've got TradeStation, you could use the fib line retracement tool. I've shown you a million times how to program that to set your own targets, but I could show you again if you need it. And again, John, I don't know, you could chime in. I don't know if a Ninja Trader offers such a tool, but it's one of the reasons I stick with TradeStation. And it looks like the YM's stopping out, making new highs. And yeah, I don't know if you want to keep throwing money at that. There's another long trade, but I think this will just go down as a losing session today for the YM. So other than that, I mean, I don't really do too much else. Well, actually not true. I got an 8-tick proximity. And again, John, whatever you have on your chart, inquiring minds want to know. But that 8-tick proximity means that the exhaustion dots have to be within 8 ticks, not 4. 4 is the default. The way I have this set up is 8 ticks from either the 50 moving average or the 20 simple moving average. And it wouldn't bother me if you're testing and if you have the diamond level, you could turn on this additional EMA setup to true. It's using the 200 moving average as a default. And everything I've seen from that, I mean, that's typically a good trade. I mean, that one wins a lot. So if you wanted another trade, you could turn that to true. I just haven't done it because it's been working so well as it is. There's nothing else really. I mean, I'm not adjusting around 5s on entries, a minor zone. If it hits the 5, yes, but from a 4 to a 6, I'm not adjusting if I hit a 4 up to the 6 or hit the 6 down to the 4. It has to actually land on the 5, and then it adjusts 1 tick. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what, these will make a difference every now and then. So the default might be 2-1-2-1. If it gets to 48, adjust to 51. The way I have it set up is it has to get to 49 to adjust to 51. I mean, it's such a minor difference. I doubt it really matters. But you can go ahead and match yours up if you want. And then just let me know if you have any questions. Sometimes I change stuff while I'm showing people how things work, and then I forget to change them back, like the 10-tick requirement, which I do think you need before getting to money management. It has to hit target 1 and at least go 10 ticks. Now, if you've got the automation, you could certainly test these parameters and come up with maybe more optimized inputs. That's just something I typically haven't done. Yeah, sure thing, Jim. And if you need me to show you again, I would use the same thing on heating oil. The thing is, you got to fast test it. You got to see for yourself. Like anything else, if you don't prove it to yourself, like everybody else, you probably quit. Most traders throw the baby out with the bathwater because they don't see the forest from the trees. That's not anything I can tell you, because you still won't be convinced when some trees start to fall. It's just one of those things that if you don't prove it to yourself, you'll probably quit. Even if it wins 90% of the time, traders quit because the 10% losers will cluster up. You get multiple losses in a row. You throw the baby out with the bathwater, and then you miss the 26 winning trades in a row. And believe me, that's happened. In this trade room, that's happened. All right, so Pound Aussie, trying to get lower, not quite at money management. Money management at 8259, getting closer. Would sure love to see a nice extended move down. Ari, I'm not calling you a quitter if you have concerns. That's not what I said. You're putting words in my mouth. What I said was, and this is what I've learned over the years with countless traders, I can't even put a number on how many. And I'm talking almost 18 years in a trade room, helping traders, calling strategies, creating winning strategies, etc. If you don't do the work yourself, you'll never understand the high, big picture of what you're doing. Winning trading comes from a long series of trades where you win more than you lose. And someone who doesn't do the kind of pre-production work that I always suggest is probably going to quit because they don't understand. They don't see the forest from the trees. This is nothing new that I'm saying. I've been saying the same thing for years. I don't mean to be condescending. I mean to be helpful. I want you to succeed. Yeah, and poor reviews. I mean, everyone that's reviewed any of my stuff doesn't understand or know my stuff. Anyone can throw out an opinion. I could spend my whole life trying to refute that. I'm trying to help. I understand that I present ideas that a lot of people resist. I understand that. I'm okay with that. But I'm certainly not being condescending. I'm just trying to help. I'd love for you to succeed. But the way to succeed, and this is something I believe in, and everyone in here that's been with me for years hopefully will attest to what I'm saying, because I'm not saying anything new. If you don't do your own work, if you don't prove it to yourself, odds are, and this is what I've seen over and over again, that you'll probably quit. And when I say you, I'm talking about in general. I'm not pointing the finger at you, Ari. And I'm certainly not being nasty. You're being a little bit overly sensitive and perhaps not understanding my point. Because it's certainly not intended to be insulting or condescending. It's intended to be helpful and to hopefully get you to think about things maybe differently. And if I'm hitting a nerve and maybe pushing you into an area that you're not comfortable with, that's something I can't apologize for. That might actually be a good thing. In my view, it probably is. You have to get out of your comfort zone sometimes to learn new things. But there's a method. It's not like I'm just hanging you out to dry. There's a step-by-step method. I offer it in the training. You have to learn how to trade a strategy, which I understand because I created it. A new person's not going to understand it nearly as well as me. But if you follow the steps, I want to get you to the point where you do understand it. Well, I don't know. I'm just judging by your reaction right now. You're taking everything I'm saying personally. So I'm just trying to be clear. It's not intended to be personal, nor is it intended to be anything harmful. It's intended to be helpful. So, I mean, whether you want to hear what I'm saying or not, that's something I can't control. I hope you will listen to what I'm saying because I'm not trying to hurt. I'm trying to help. You've had the strategy for a week. How much do you think you know about the strategy? Probably not that much. But you could take the time and effort to learn as much as you can about it, and then you're going to know more. Is anybody in the YM? Just curious. Still struggling to get to that money management level. It almost got there. Money management at 388, got as high as 385. So it's looking like it's making another attempt. Let's see if it can make a new swing high. Maybe get to that target one. Ed, are you referring to the YM? I'm not sure what trade you're in. I know there are other charts you could trade with this. There's a little bit of a delay between my speaking to you and your guys responding back, so I lose the context sometimes of your comments. So, Ed, the YM. So what are you trading? I mean, are you trading this? Obviously, there wasn't a stop out on Spotlight. Well, now there is. Now there's a stop and reverse, which that you'd want to push down to 49 and adjust lower. It might make a difference, but the YM's had a hard time this morning. It's had a hard time getting positive. It almost did on that second trade. So this is a good idea, a good example to talk about stop and reversals. The idea is you want to stay in the trade that you're in and try to avoid flipping over to short. So we make an adjustment on the entry, usually 2 ticks, and then adjust around a key level. So the way the YM works, if you get to 2 points of what I call a major key level, which is a 50 or 100, you adjust one point beyond. So if you make the 2 point adjustment goes from 354 to 352, and then you adjust around the key level to 49. It's one of those rare 5-point adjustments. I hate doing it, but you want to try to stay in the long trade if you can. So you want to see if the price can push through the major key level before flipping over to short. That's the whole idea. And sometimes it'll save you and you'll stay in the original trade because of the adjustment. And you can see the bar to the left got rejected at the 50, right at 351. It couldn't get any lower. So that's why you don't want to get short just in front of it. You want to get short slightly beyond it. So try to stay long if you're still in the YM. Yeah, so Ed, I'm just curious what chart you're using or what system. Because, I mean, if you're using Spotlight on a 14-point momentum bar, we might want to review the settings. Unless, I mean, are you on Ninja? Because it's possible maybe on Ninja there's a completely different setup. Unfortunately, there's just no uniformity with data feeds. And so even if a data feed is a tiny bit off, it could change the entire sequence of trades. That's why I'm asking what you're using, because I'm just curious, because it seems like quite a difference, because our stop is all the way down at 308, and your chart is so different. I'm just curious what it actually is. Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, that's great. Spotlight and Counterpunch are both super versatile, and they definitely work well when joining them with other trading ideas, methods, indicators. I mean, I know a lot of different members that use the strategies in unique ways. So as long as you make it your own, you're following your trade plan, then, you know, some trades lose. Regardless, always the case. No one wins 100% ever. That 50 level's putting up quite a support level there, you can see. So is it going to test new highs or not? The Dow already up 215 points. Dow futures anyway. Hey Ed, just curious again. Are you using TradeStation 10 or are you still on 9.5? As you can see, I'm still on 9.5. Yeah, good. And do you have that data window issue where when you click on another chart, the data window pops back, moves back to where it first opens with each chart? It's such an annoying thing. I was able to get a tech to help me just lock into a Windows version because it's all about the version of Windows. So I just kind of found one that where the data window was not an issue and then just froze it there, and I just stay there and only use the computer for trading. Like this is still a Windows 7, a 7 Pro machine. Works great. I just don't see any reason to change. Yeah, that's I mean, that really sucks. I know it's really hard to live with that. So I mean, I had the tech support at Falcon Trading Computers help me and find the version of Windows prior to that problem existing. And I did that with my 10, my Windows 10 machine also, because I got a newer computer both on my laptop and my desktop. Found that Windows version where that problem was not, where it wasn't a problem, and then just kind of froze it there. So I don't let the Windows updates occur. And I realize there's some drawback to that too, but I'm just super careful what I bring into the computer, and I just use it for trading. And so once that data window stops bouncing around, trading is so much better, because the last thing you want is you click on the chart and all of a sudden the data window jumps over to, well, you know, it's a real pain. And also with the performance reports, it does that too. Just terrible. And I wish TradeStation would fix the problem. They say it's fixed in TradeStation 10, but TradeStation 10 has other issues that are just intolerable, which is a shame. Unfortunately, I just don't know. I don't think that there's any like charting platform that's just perfect, you know? Not that I know of anyway. You have to live with all the little issues. If you solve one, you go to another, you get other issues. So if you did not adjust, or I mean, if you made the stop and reverse adjustment, you're still breathing on this long trade here on the YM. So this is a good example of the stop and reverse adjustment, why we do it. And this is equally true on Forex. And with Forex, you also have to consider spread. But you adjust your entry on the reversing trade with the philosophy of trying to protect the trade you're in by asking for additional price action confirmation that the price will push in the opposite direction a little further before flipping over to the short side in this case. And oftentimes that little adjustment will keep you in the original trade. So that's a pretty important thing. We've been doing it the same way for years. Usually it's a 2-tick adjustment, and then if you're up against a key level, adjusting around that as well. I look at it as the cost of insurance, like an insurance premium. And it really pays when it works. When it doesn't work, you pay a little extra for the insurance that didn't work. But it works often enough. Now this is not out of the woods yet. It still can come down and get short because it has not hit its money management level. It's having a hard time getting there. So still not out of the woods, but it did offer a little more opportunity, and it still might push higher. Yeah, Jim, well, that's good news. I mean, that is encouraging. There's things about TradeStation 10 that are hard for me. Like, I have to click through multiple layers of menus to get to things that I used to be able to get to very easily. And I don't know. I'm used to what I have, and I have everything working so well. I'm not sure I'm going to change to 10 unless I really am forced to do so. But it makes me happy to know that it's working without issues. As long as you can trade with it and you understand how to use it and you can be successful with it, that's the most important thing. And it's true, 9.5 has its issues where even though I've got the data window issue solved where it doesn't bounce around like it used to, other things happen sometimes. I mean, the random crash, it's always a pain. Usually when I have too many charts open, which is usually all the time. So just watching the YM, trying to see if it's going to pop through. Markets have really slowed down. Also, the pound Aussie, you can see it's having a hard time getting lower too. It's almost at its money management level of 5.9. Getting to 60. It's got to get one pip through, and that 60 level also showing some support. By the way, the stop and reverse should cancel. In other words, if you did have a reverse at 349 after making an adjustment, notice that the price came up and hit the stop of that short trade at 87, in effect canceling that short trade. So you should just stay with the yellow trade now. Cancel the stop and reverse. I mean, if you want to keep your stop at 4.9, that's something I would typically do personally, especially when it's come so close. Actually, it hit money management. The money management level's at 8.8, and it hit 8.8. So now, if you're in the yellow trade, you can move your stop and lock in one tick and break even at least. Didn't get to target one yet, almost, but at least you can move your stop to break even and cancel the short. So the stop and reverse adjustment at that 50 level, you can see how effective that was, and that's the reason we do that. So I'm getting ready to end this session, you guys. If anyone has any questions or comments, this is the time to let me hear it. Ari, anything else you'd like me to cover for you? Do you have any other questions or anything else that I could do to help you with your Counterpunch Express 2? Feel free to chime in if so. The YM still at 88. It's got 4 points to go to get to that nice 39-point target one. Not quite there yet. So I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to let me know if there's anything else on your mind you'd like to discuss or review or go over. All right then. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. Don't forget, John will be in here tomorrow. I'll be here on Wednesday, and then John back again on Thursday. If you're in the Trade Hacking Club Discord channel, be on the lookout for an announcement for our next Trade Hacking Club session. If you're not on that channel, feel free to join. You'll see the link to join in the trade notes, or the actual notes of this YouTube broadcast. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.